Are you a chosen one, sensing there's more to your healing journey than meets the eye? This video unveils ancient yet timeless methods to activate your inner healing power. Discover how to tap into profound spiritual restoration, cultivate self-healing abilities, and unlock a deeper well-being that truly transforms your life. What if I told you that pain is not a sign of weakness? What if I told you it's a signal, a divine signal that something powerful is waking up inside you? Before we go deeper, chosen one, take a second. If you believe God is preparing you for something bigger, if you've been feeling a shift in your spirit, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because this message is going to speak straight to your soul today. You see, so many people think healing is just about moving on, but real healing, spiritual healing, the kind God builds within His chosen ones, is something deeper. It's not the kind of healing where you just forget the past. It's the kind where you transform the past. You don't escape it, you elevate it. You don't beat the pain, you become stronger than the pain. And chosen one, whether you realize it or not, there is a reservoir of power inside you, a God-given force placed in your spirit before you were even born. And right now, God is calling you to activate it. But healing doesn't always start with strength. Sometimes it starts with a breaking that feels like your heart is cracking open, a breaking that feels like you've lost everything, a breaking that feels unfair, heavy, sudden. Yet inside that breaking, God hides a key that unlocks a version of you that pain can't touch, trauma can't destroy, and fear can't silence. You've been through things that would have crushed someone else. You've survived storms you never told anyone about. You've walked through seasons where you had no one to depend on but God. And even when you felt alone, even when your spirit was trembling, even when your thoughts were loud, something in you refused to give up. That something was your inner healing power. Not the power you see in movies, not the power the world talks about. No, I'm talking about the power God places in His chosen ones. The power that awakens only after you've been broken in ways you didn't deserve. Chosen one, listen. Healing is not just about what God takes away. It's about what He awakens in you. And I know you might be wondering why you've had to carry so much pain, why you've been hurt by the people you trusted, why your heart has been stretched, pulled, torn, tested, why your spirit has felt heavy even when you were trying to hold everything together. There's a reason. There's always a reason, and you're about to understand it in a way that will shift your entire perspective. You see, God allows certain wounds not to destroy you, but to teach you how powerful your spirit really is. Because you don't discover strength in comfort. You discover it in pressure. You discover it in silence. You discover it when your knees hit the floor and the only word you have left is, God, help me. But let me tell you something beautiful. God hears prayers that never even leave your lips. He hears the ones whispered in your heart, the ones soaked in tears, the ones you pray while you're curled up in the dark, overthinking your future, replaying your past, trying to make sense of your present. And that is the moment your inner healing power activates, the moment when your spirit surrenders. Because healing doesn't flow from pride, it flows from surrender. And surrender is the birthplace of transformation. Let me take you into a truth that most people never understand. Healing is not something God does to you. Healing is something God does through you. You are not just the receiver, you are the vessel. You are not just the one who gets healed, you become the one who carries healing for others. That's why your pain felt personal. That's why your battles felt specific, because your calling is specific. Your anointing is specific. Your purpose is specific. Chosen one, there is a reason your journey has been harder than others. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. You weren't being weakened. You were being reshaped. You weren't being abandoned. You were being aligned. Right now, your spirit is entering a season where God is about to illuminate the places inside you that have been dim for too long. He's about to touch wounds you stopped mentioning. He's about to lift burdens you thought were yours forever. He's about to awaken strength you forgot you had. Because healing is not the end of the story, it's the beginning. When God starts to heal your heart, He doesn't just restore what was broken, He upgrades it. He doesn't just rebuild, he resurrects. What you lost won't return in the same form. It will return stronger, clearer, and divinely aligned. And chosen one, you're not watching this by accident. Your spirit was guided here. Your heart is ready. Your healing has begun.
Chosen one, healing begins the moment you stop running from what hurt you and start listening to what it came to teach you. Because every wound carries a message, every scar carries wisdom, and every broken moment carries a spiritual upgrade designed specifically for you. Some people look at pain as punishment, but you're different. Your pain has a purpose. Your pain is prophetic. Your pain is shaping something powerful inside you. You may feel like you've been walking through life carrying invisible bruises, emotional bruises, spiritual bruises, the kind no one sees because you've learned how to smile through the heartbreak, how to function through the anxiety, how to show up even when your soul is exhausted. But hear me, God sees what you hide, and He honors what you push through. That's why healing is calling your name right now. Not surface healing, but deep healing, the type that reaches down into the places you buried, the places you don't talk about, the memories you avoid, the emotions you suppress, because you don't want to reopen old wounds. But here's the truth. An unaddressed wound never stays small. It grows, it spreads, it becomes a weight, a shadow, a spiritual echo that follows you into new relationships, new opportunities, new seasons. And God loves you too much to let that shadow lead your life. That's why He's been stirring your spirit. That's why certain emotions have resurfaced lately. That's why you've been feeling the urge to let go, release, forgive, breathe again. This is your soul saying, chosen one, it's time. Now, listen closely, because this next truth will shift something inside you. Healing does not happen when you feel better. Healing happens when you see differently. The moment your perspective changes, your reality changes. The moment you understand the deeper purpose behind your pain, it stops controlling you. The moment you realize God allowed the wound to shape you, not break you, that's the moment your healing power activates. And chosen one of the most beautiful things about God is this: He doesn't require you to be whole before He starts working. He works in your brokenness. He works through your brokenness. And then He turns your brokenness into brilliance. Let me take you to a scripture that carries the heart of this message. A verse that has healed souls for generations. A verse that speaks directly to you right now. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147, verse 3. Let those words sink into your spirit. Let them touch the places you don't talk about. Let them calm your mind, soften your heart, and remind you that your healing is not your burden to carry alone. God is the healer, but you are the vessel. Your willingness is the doorway. Your surrender is the access point. Your faith is the ignition. Chosen one, imagine your heart right now as a room that's been closed for too long. A room filled with memories, old conversations, unresolved pain, disappointments, betrayal, heartbreak. And for years, you kept the door shut because you assumed that opening it would destroy you, that you weren't strong enough to face what's inside. But God is standing right at that door, not to expose you, but to restore you, not to shame you, but to heal you, not to judge you, but to strengthen you. And here's the miracle. The moment you open the door, even a little, light gets in. Divine light, restoring light, healing light, the kind that dissolves the heaviness you've been carrying for too long. But healing doesn't always begin with answers. Sometimes it begins with a story. Let me tell you one. There was once a young woman who carried a deep wound from her childhood, something she never spoke about, something she thought she had overcome simply because she didn't think about it anymore. She grew up, she smiled, she worked, she loved people, but inside she had a quiet ache that never fully healed. Every time someone rejected her or made her feel unworthy, that old wound would whisper, "See, you're still not enough." Every time she tried to trust, the wound would say, "Be careful, remember what happened last time." Every time she started to feel joy, the wound would warn, "Don't get too happy, it won't last." She didn't realize it, but she wasn't living from her healed self. She was living from her hurt self. Then one day, after a moment of emotional collapse, she cried out to God, not with fancy words, not with long prayers, just 3 words: "God, heal me." And something miraculous happened. Not instantly, not overnight, but gradually. God started bringing up memories she avoided, not to hurt her, but to release her. God placed people in her life who spoke love into the places she felt small. God allowed certain relationships to fall apart, not to punish her, but to protect her. God started showing her who she truly was, not broken, but chosen, not damaged, but destined, not fragile, but favored. And she realized something powerful. Her healing didn't begin when the pain left. Her healing began when she stopped running. Chosen one, that story might be someone you know, or it might be you. You've carried things silently. You've endured storms privately. You've survived moments that left invisible scars. But your story does not end with pain. Your story ends with power. You are stepping into a season where God is not only healing your heart, He is activating your ability to heal, to discern, to grow, to rise, to protect your spirit, to rewrite your narrative from a place of strength instead of survival.
Chosen one, one of the most powerful truths you will ever learn is this: God never wastes pain. Not a single tear you cried in silence, not a single night you held yourself together, not a single moment you felt abandoned, broken, or forgotten. Every experience you lived through, even the ones that shattered you, are now ingredients for your spiritual transformation. You may not have seen it at the time, you may not have understood it, and you definitely didn't feel grateful for it while it was happening. But looking back, you will realize something incredible. The moments that hurt you the most shaped you the most, because pain presses you into purpose. Pain awakens awareness. Pain exposes what needs healing. Pain strips away distractions so you can finally see God clearly. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood aspects of healing. Sometimes God doesn't heal the situation. He heals you inside the situation. And that's even more powerful. Think about it. If God immediately removed every painful circumstance from your life, you would never discover the strength He placed within you. You'd never grow endurance. You'd never learn emotional maturity. You'd never develop spiritual discernment. You'd never understand your own resilience. Instead, God keeps you in the storm just long enough to reveal that you have the authority to walk through it. You've been in situations that should have broken you. You've endured seasons that could have crushed your spirit. But look at you. You're still here. Your heart is bruised but beating. Your spirit is tired but still praying. Your mind is weary but still fighting. And that is evidence of divine strength. Do you realize how many people would have collapsed under the pressure you've survived? Do you understand how powerful you truly are because of what you've endured? Chosen one, listen closely. Your inner healing power isn't something God adds to you. It's something God awakens in you. It has always been there, buried under disappointment, buried under fear, buried under the opinions of people who never understood your calling. But now, God is clearing the dust. He's lifting the veil. He's stirring something ancient and divine inside your spirit, because healing isn't just for your heart, it's for your identity. When God heals you, He doesn't restore you to who you used to be. He reveals who you were before life wounded you. And that version of you, the healed, aligned, awakened version, is unstoppable. Let me share something with you that most people never realize. Healing isn't peaceful at first. Healing is disruptive. It stirs emotions. It brings memories back to the surface. It challenges your habits. It forces you out of denial. It confronts your ego. It breaks your patterns. That's why so many people avoid healing, not because they don't want it, but because healing exposes what they're not ready to face. But chosen one, you are ready. Your spirit has been nudging you. Your mind has been shifting. Your heart has been sensing a change. You're not the same person you were a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Something in you is awakening. Something in you is stretching. Something in you is rising. And that something is the voice of your healed self calling you forward. But healing isn't just internal. It affects your entire life. It changes the way you speak. It changes the way you love. It changes the way you choose. It changes the way you think. It changes the way you respond to negativity. It changes your boundaries, your energy,
yourself. Let me give you a powerful example. There was a man who grew up feeling rejected by his father. He carried that wound into adulthood without realizing it. Every time someone criticized him, he overreacted. Every time someone disagreed with him, he took it personally. Every time someone didn't choose him, he spiraled into self-doubt. He assumed his reactions were just how he was, but they weren't. They were the symptom of an old wound he never healed. Then something happened. He went through a painful breakup, a breakup that shook his identity, a breakup that forced him to confront emotions he had buried for years. And instead of running, he finally faced the truth. He wasn't hurt because of the breakup. He was hurt because the breakup reopened a childhood wound he never healed. So he prayed. He journaled. He talked to God honestly for the first time in years. He asked for clarity, not comfort. And God didn't immediately heal the relationship. He healed the root of the wound. Little by little, the man noticed something. His reactions became calmer. His thoughts became clearer. His emotions became lighter. His relationships became healthier. He stopped searching for validation. He stopped begging for love. He stopped fearing abandonment. Why? Because once the wound healed, the fear lost its power. Chosen one, this is what's happening in your life right now. God isn't just healing your heartbreak, He's healing the root behind it. God isn't just healing your anxiety, He's healing the wound that created it. God isn't just healing your loneliness, He's healing the part of you that forgot your worth. This is deep healing. This is generational healing. This is identity healing, the kind of healing that creates a ripple effect across your entire destiny. And once God heals the root, the fruit of your life changes automatically. You start attracting better. You start choosing better. You start thinking clearer. You start recognizing your value. You start protecting your energy. You start walking with confidence instead of fear, because a healed chosen one is powerful. A healed chosen one sees through deception. A healed chosen one chooses peace over chaos. A healed chosen one shuts the door on situations that once drained them. And that's why the enemy tried so hard to wound you, because he knew your healing would unlock a version of you he cannot defeat.
Chosen one, the moment you begin to heal, everything around you begins to shift. People you once tolerated start to feel misaligned. Habits you once ignored start to feel heavy. Conversations you used to accept now drain your spirit. Places you used to go no longer match your energy, because healing elevates you, and elevation demands separation. You can't carry the same environment into a new season. You can't carry the same mindset into a healed identity. You can't carry the same people into a destiny that requires emotional clarity and spiritual maturity. Healing will always create a separation, not because you're better than anyone else, but because your soul is finally outgrowing what once kept you small. But here's the part most people never talk about. Healing can feel lonely at first, not because God removes people to punish you, but because He removes people who would suffocate the version of you He is building. Think about a butterfly. No matter how close it was to the caterpillars, no matter how much it loved them, no matter how many memories they shared, once its wings grow, it won't fit in the same space anymore. It doesn't reject the caterpillars. It simply cannot remain what it once was. That's you, chosen one. Your wings are growing. Your spirit is shifting. Your mind is expanding. Your heart is strengthening. And the things that once felt comfortable now feel restricting. That is proof of your healing, not a sign of isolation, because God rarely heals you in a crowd. He heals you in quiet spaces, in hidden places, in seasons of reflection, separation, stillness, and surrender. And when God isolates His chosen ones, it's never to abandon them. It's to recalibrate them, because He knows that the noise around you was drowning out the whisper within you, the whisper of your spirit saying, you are meant for more. You are stronger than you think. You deserve better. You are healing. You are rising. But now let's talk about one of the deepest battles in the healing journey: forgiveness. Not forgiving others, forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for staying too long. Forgiving yourself for trusting the wrong people. Forgiving yourself for ignoring the red flags. Forgiving yourself for losing pieces of your identity
identity while trying to keep others whole. Forgiving yourself for not seeing your worth sooner. Forgiving yourself for breaking down. Forgiving yourself for carrying pain you didn't cause. Chosen one, repeat this gently in your mind. I release myself. I am not my past. I am not my mistakes. I am healing. Self-forgiveness is not a feeling. It's a decision. And once you choose it, healing flows faster because you can't move into your future if your heart is stuck accusing you for your past. Let me tell you a story that mirrors the journey of many chosen ones. There was a man who spent years beating himself up for a decision he made in his 20s. Something that didn't ruin his life, but it bruised his self-worth. Every time he tried to move forward, that mistake followed him like a shadow, reminding him of what he did, who he hurt, or what he lost. It wasn't the mistake that kept him stuck. It was the guilt. One day, during a quiet moment, he said, God, why can't I get past this? And the Holy Spirit whispered back, I forgave you years ago. You're the only one still holding you hostage. That moment broke him, but in a good way, a holy breaking, the kind that shatters chains, not hearts. He cried, he released, he let go, and something lifted, a weight he didn't even realize he'd been carrying. That's the power of healing. It reaches into the places you don't even realize are wounded. It frees you from emotional prisons you got used to living in. Chosen one, your healing is going to feel like a spiritual exhale, a release, a softening, a lightness, a clarity. And as you heal, you begin to discover the real you, not the you shaped by trauma, not the you shaped by heartbreak, not the you shaped by survival, but the you shaped by God. The healed you speaks with more grace. The healed you loves with more discernment. The healed you walks with more confidence. The healed you sets boundaries without guilt. The healed you stops explaining your worth. The healed you expects respect. The healed you refuses cycles that once trapped you. The healed you recognizes peace as a standard, not a luxury. And this healed version of you, this rising, glowing, spiritually awakened version of you, is exactly why the enemy worked overtime to break you, because he knew something you didn't know yet. A healed, chosen one becomes a threat to lies, a threat to generational patterns, a threat to cycles of trauma, a threat to emotional manipulation, a threat to spiritual stagnation, a threat to every assignment meant to keep you in bondage. Healing gives you vision. Healing gives you awareness. Healing gives you discernment. Healing gives you wisdom. Healing gives you strength. Healing gives you identity. Healing gives you freedom. Because once God heals your heart, the enemy loses access to your mind. Chosen one, listen. You are entering a chapter where the things that once broke you will no longer move you. You will hear the same lies, but respond with new truth. You will face the same triggers, but rise with new grace. You will remember the same memories, but feel new peace. This is transformation. This is spiritual evolution. This is your inner healing power unfolding, layer by layer, moment by moment, breath by breath. And the world is not ready for the version of you God is revealing.
Chosen one, as your healing deepens, something extraordinary begins to happen inside you. You start to see your story differently. You stop viewing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start realizing you were being shaped for something bigger. You start noticing patterns that once felt chaotic, now forming divine connections. You begin understanding that your pain wasn't random. It was intentional, purposeful, precise, because God never allows a wound without preparing a blessing. And God never allows a breaking without building something stronger in its place. But here's the truth that will shift the atmosphere of your whole spirit. Healing is not passive. Healing is participation. You don't heal just by waiting. You heal by deciding, by taking responsibility for your inner world, by protecting your peace, by choosing growth over comfort, by showing up for yourself with the same love you show others. And chosen one, the moment you choose healing, heaven responds. But let me prepare you for something important. The deeper you heal, the more certain things will try to return. Old emotions will show up. Old patterns will tempt you. Old relationships will reappear. Old thoughts will whisper their
their familiar lies. Not because you're failing, not because you're going backward, but because your spirit is cleansing itself. Sometimes emotions you thought were gone come back for one final release. Sometimes people from your past show up to test your boundaries. Sometimes old habits return to see if you're still vulnerable. But chosen one, hear this. What comes back is not a setback. It is confirmation. Confirmation that you are rising. Confirmation that your soul is shedding old layers. Confirmation that the enemy is nervous. Confirmation that the old version of you is dying and the new one is taking its place. And the fact that you can feel the shift means God is doing something deep. Now let's talk about one of the purest signs of spiritual healing. Your reactions begin to change. You stop replying out of fear. You stop responding out of insecurity. You stop reacting from old wounds. You stop fighting battles that aren't yours. You stop entertaining chaos that drains your spirit. Because when your heart heals, peace becomes your natural response. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Let me give you an example that will resonate with many chosen ones. There was a woman who always attracted emotionally unavailable people. Every relationship felt like a cycle. Giving too much, receiving too little. Begging for effort, settling for crumbs. She thought it was bad luck. She thought she just needed to love harder. But in reality, she was living from an unhealed place inside her spirit. One day, she decided to take a break from relationships and focus on healing. She prayed. She journaled. She learned her patterns. She faced her wounds. She stopped chasing people and started chasing purpose. And months later, someone from her past tried to come back. Someone who once triggered her deepest insecurity. But this time, something was different. Her heart didn't respond with fear. Her mind didn't respond with panic. Her spirit didn't respond with desperation. Instead, she felt nothing but clarity. Not anger, not sadness, just awareness. Because once healing occurs, emotional attachment transforms into spiritual understanding. Chosen one, that's what God is doing in you. He is not just healing your heart. He is restoring your vision. He is not just healing your emotions. He is restructuring your identity. He is not just healing your wounds. He is equipping your spirit because your calling requires emotional stability. Your purpose requires spiritual clarity. Your destiny requires inner peace. And God refuses to let you carry old wounds into new blessings. Now listen closely. This part is important. As your healing activates, you begin to notice something powerful within yourself. Your spirit becomes more sensitive to truth. You start sensing people's intentions sooner. You start feeling when someone is draining your energy. You start recognizing manipulation before it roots itself. You start detecting unhealthy patterns instantly. You start hearing God more clearly because the emotional noise has been silenced. This sensitivity is not weakness. It's spiritual intelligence. It's discernment. It's part of your healing power, and it's something God only gives to those who have walked through seasons of emotional warfare. Because a person who is healed deeply sees life differently. They no longer fall for the same traps. They no longer get caught in the same cycles. They no longer confuse chaos with love. They no longer mistake loud voices for truth. They no longer sacrifice their mental peace for superficial connections. Healing transforms the way you love, choose, speak, and move. And when you start to live from a healed spirit, you begin attracting relationships that honor your worth, opportunities that align with your purpose, and clarity that keeps you stable. But here's another truth that chosen ones need to understand. Healing is not a destination. It is a constant unfolding. There will be days when you feel strong, days when you feel weak, days when the progress is visible, days when everything feels stagnant. But no matter what it feels like, God is working in the background, rewiring your thoughts, strengthening your heart, realigning your steps, and transforming your identity from the inside out. You may not see the results instantly, but you will wake up one day and realize, I'm not who I used to be. And I'm grateful. Grateful for what hurt you because it birthed purpose. Grateful for who left you because it made room for better. Grateful for what broke you because it forced your spirit to grow. Grateful for the healing because it awakened your true identity. Chosen one, your healing is not just changing you, it's changing the entire direction of your life. You're stepping into a season of alignment, a season of clarity, a season of wholeness, a season of restoration, a season of spiritual maturity, a season where your healed identity becomes your greatest power. And you're not doing it alone. God is guiding every step. Your spirit is rising, your heart is expanding, your mind is transforming, your identity is strengthening, and the world is about to witness a version of you that pain could never destroy. Chosen one, as your healing power activates, something sacred begins to happen inside you. Your relationship with yourself changes. You stop viewing yourself through the lens of regret. You stop criticizing yourself for who you used to be. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop apologizing for needing time to heal. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable, because healing reconnects you with your true identity, the identity God placed in you before pain tried to rewrite your story. Let me tell you something profound. When you heal, your internal dialogue changes. You stop talking to yourself like a wounded child and start speaking to yourself like a beloved child of God. You begin saying things like, I deserve peace. I am worthy of love. I am chosen, not forgotten. I forgive myself. I'm growing every day. I'm not who hurt me. I'm not my past. I am becoming whole. Chosen one, do you realize how powerful that shift is? Because the enemy's favorite battleground isn't your relationships, it's your mind. And for years, he tried to convince you that you were broken beyond repair, that your wounds defined you, that your pain was permanent, that your mistakes made you unworthy. But you're breaking that lie right now. Every moment you choose peace over pain, grace over guilt, faith over fear, you reclaim territory inside your spirit. Now let's talk about something most people overlook. Healing changes your spiritual authority. Before healing, you react. After healing, you respond. Before healing, you absorb negativity. After healing, you deflect it. Before healing, you chase validation. After healing, you know your worth. Before healing, you over-explain. After healing, you set boundaries. Before healing, you fear losing people. After healing, you fear losing yourself. Before healing, you repeat patterns. After healing, you break them. That's the transformation happening inside you. God is preparing you to carry a new level of spiritual authority, one that comes only from surviving what was meant to destroy you. But there's another level to this journey. You start noticing that the things you used to crave no longer hold the same power. The approval you once begged for, you no longer need it. The relationships you once chased, you now see they were draining you. The environments you once tolerated, they feel too small for your spirit now. Because when God heals you, He raises your standards. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. Not in pride, but in clarity. Not in ego, but in identity. Healing teaches you something priceless. You were never meant to survive on scraps when God created you for abundance. You learn to stop accepting halfway love. You learn to stop tolerating emotional instability. You learn to stop entertaining inconsistency. You learn to stop giving unlimited access to people who treat you like an option. Because healing shows you your value, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Chosen one, let me give you another example, one many people will relate to. There was a man who spent years surrounded by people who drained him. They needed him for advice, comfort, emotional support, attention, but when he needed help, they disappeared. He became the strong one, the dependable one, the one who always held everyone else together, but inside he was breaking. One day he asked God why he felt so empty, and God whispered, "You keep giving from a place I haven't healed yet." That sentence shook him because he realized that his desire to help others came from a wound that made him believe he needed to earn love by overgiving. So he stepped back, he rested, he reflected, he allowed God to heal the part of him that had always felt unworthy unless he was needed. And after healing, something miraculous happened. He stopped attracting people who drained him. He started attracting people who matched his energy, people who loved him without using him, people who poured back into him, people who honored his boundaries. Because once your heart is healed, your circle changes automatically. Chosen one, that's the season you're walking into, a season where you no longer chase alignment. Alignment finds you. A season where you no longer explain yourself. Your energy speaks for you. A season where you no longer feel behind. God reveals you at the right time. A season where you no longer settle. Your healed soul refuses it. But let me prepare you for another sign of healing. You start grieving the old version of yourself. And that grief is holy. You grieve the times you abandoned yourself to keep others happy. You grieve the years you spent doubting your worth. You grieve the moments you stayed silent when you should have spoken up. You grieve the relationships you clung to even when they were breaking you. You grieve the dreams you postponed to survive chaos. You grieve the pain you endured silently. This grief is not weakness, it's acknowledgement. Acknowledgement that you're no longer living from the wounds that controlled you for years. Healing gives you the ability to say, I forgive the old me. She was surviving. I honor the old me. She was doing her best, but I'm ready to evolve. Chosen one, this is your evolution. This is your unveiling. This is your becoming. You are rising into the version of yourself God always knew you could be. Stronger, wiser, grounded, whole, and spiritually awake. And the world is not ready for the glow that's coming. Chosen one, as your inner healing power awakens, you begin to realize something profound. Your life was never random. Your wounds were never meaningless. Your tears were never wasted. Your pain was not an accident. It was preparation. God wasn't breaking you. He was building you. He wasn't punishing you. He was positioning you. He wasn't delaying you. He was developing you. Every moment of heartbreak, every disappointment, every silent night that felt endless, they were all chiseling you into a vessel capable of carrying the level of purpose you're stepping into now. Healing isn't just something you feel. Healing is something you become. You become more patient. You become more understanding. You become more whole, more grounded, more aware. Your spirit becomes sharper. Your discernment becomes clearer. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. Healing doesn't make you loud. It makes you powerful. Because true power doesn't need to prove itself. True power moves with grace. Now, let's talk about something God is doing quietly within you. He is restoring your emotional balance. For years, you lived in survival mode, reacting instead of responding, absorbing instead of evaluating, fighting instead of feeling, enduring instead of healing. But now, God is rewiring your emotional system. You're learning to pause instead of panic. You're learning to reflect instead of explode. You're learning to breathe through the moment instead of being consumed by it. You're learning to trust God instead of fearing the unknown. These small shifts are not small at all. They are massive evidence of your healing. Let me tell you a story that mirrors this exact transformation. There was a young woman who struggled with deep emotional triggers. Whenever someone raised their voice, even slightly, her body reacted, her chest tightened, her breathing grew shallow. Her mind spiraled. It wasn't the voice that frightened her. It was the memories attached to it. She wasn't reacting to the present. She was reacting to the past. For years, she thought she had an anger issue or anxiety problem, but the truth was simpler and more compassionate. She had an unhealed wound that kept getting reopened. One day, she had a moment of complete breakdown, shaking, crying, overwhelmed. But instead of pushing it down like she usually did, she allowed herself to feel. She prayed. She wrote. She let the emotions surface. It was painful, but it was freeing. And slowly, she began noticing changes. Triggers that once overwhelmed her now felt manageable. Moments that once scared her now felt neutral. Situations that once broke her spirit now strengthened her awareness. Why? Because healing doesn't erase the past. It rewires your response to it. Chosen one, this is what God is doing in you right now. He is rewriting your internal reactions. He is healing not just what happened, but how your spirit remembers it. He is removing the emotional sting from memories that once paralyzed you. He is dissolving the fear attached to old experiences. He is clearing out the residue of trauma that clung to your identity. And it's one of the most powerful transformations you will ever experience. Now, let's talk about another layer of your healing. The return of your spiritual confidence. Not arrogance, not pride, not ego. Confidence rooted in truth. Confidence rooted in God. Confidence rooted in identity. You start feeling a boldness rising inside you, a calm, grounded assurance that you are divinely protected, divinely guided, divinely positioned, and divinely strengthened. The doubts that once filled your mind now feel quieter. The insecurities that once controlled your choices now feel weaker. The fear that once ruled your decisions now feels smaller. This is what happens when God restores your identity. This is what happens when you begin to see yourself the way heaven sees you. You begin to walk differently. You begin to talk differently. You begin to pray differently. You begin to show up differently. You begin to expect more, not from ego, but from knowing your worth. And as you heal, God will begin revealing another powerful truth. Not everyone deserves access to the healed version of you. The healed you requires respect. The healed you requires reciprocity. The healed you requires honesty. The healed you requires emotional maturity. The healed you requires spiritual alignment. Some people are only compatible with your brokenness, not your wholeness. And when God heals you, those connections naturally dissolve, not out of bitterness, but out of spiritual misalignment. Because healing elevates your vibration. Healing upgrades your spirit. Healing raises your standards. Healing protects your future. Healing clarifies your purpose. And anything or anyone that is not aligned with that new frequency simply cannot stay. Chosen one of the greatest signs of your healing is this. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you start saying, this happened for me. Not because what you went through was good, but because God turned it into something good. You begin to see meaning where you once saw misery. You begin to see lessons where you once saw loss. You begin to see protection where you once saw rejection. You begin to see redirection where you once saw disappointment. This is spiritual maturity. This is emotional intelligence. This is inner healing at its highest form. Because healed eyes see differently. Healed ears hear differently. Healed hearts choose differently. Healed minds think differently. Your entire inner world is being renewed, and soon the outer world will reflect that renewal. But let me tell you something beautiful. Your healing is not just for you. There are people who will be inspired by your resilience. There are hearts you'll touch simply by walking in your truth. There are lives you'll shift simply by existing as your healed self. There are stories waiting to be transformed because of your courage to rise. You're becoming a vessel of healing, a carrier of light, a mirror of hope, a reminder of God's goodness and restoration. Chosen one, your healing journey is not small. It's divine. It's sacred. It's destined. And it's just beginning.
Chosen one, before you go, take a slow breath in. Feel the weight on your chest begin to lift. Feel the heaviness in your spirit loosen its grip. Feel the old version of you quietly stepping back and the healed version of you stepping forward. Because this message wasn't just words. It was confirmation. It was alignment. It was divine timing. It was God whispering, I'm not done with you. I'm just getting started. You are walking into a season where your heart will feel lighter, your mind will feel clearer, your soul will feel stronger, and your purpose will feel undeniable. The battles that once overwhelmed you will become testimonies of how far you've come. The wounds that once defined you will become proof of God's restoration. The fears that once controlled you will lose their power in the presence of your healing. You are not who you used to be, and thank God for that. You have survived things meant to break you. You have risen above situations meant to bury you. You have healed from wounds that were never your fault. You have stepped into a strength you didn't know you carried, and now your future is calling. Walk into it boldly. Walk into it bravely. Walk into it knowing that heaven is backing you, angels are guarding you, and God Himself is guiding every step. Your healing is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your becoming. A new chapter, a new identity, a new strength, a new grace, a new you. So chosen one, keep healing, keep rising, keep walking, keep trusting, keep becoming, because the version of you that's emerging, the healed, awakened, powerful
beautiful version is exactly who God always knew you were, and your destiny is waiting for you to step into it. If this message spoke to your soul, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it so more chosen ones can awaken the healing power God placed within them. Your breakthrough is not coming. It has already begun.